Welcome to IAS Market Talk, your trusted source for timely ag market insights, brought to you by Innovative Ag Services. Each week, we break down the latest beef market trends impacting Northeast Iowa and Southwest Wisconsin, with expert updates tailored specifically for our IAS members. This week, you'll hear directly from Dave Rueber, IAS Beef Production Specialist, who brings decades of experience and deep knowledge of the cattle industry to these conversations. Dave has been providing market updates to producers for years, and now he's bringing those insights straight to you through this podcast. Tune in weekly for what you need to know straight from people you know. With that, here's Dave Rueber with the latest on what's happening in the cattle markets this week.
David Rueber, Beef Production Specialist for Innovative Ag Services, calling with a beef market commentary for December 17th. Last week had a good weekend live cattle markets. You know, trade was in the high 220s to 230 by the end of the day on Friday last week. Most of the cattle were at 230. You know, just been a heck of a good run for cash cattle for the last 2 weeks. We basically went from 210 to 230 in a couple of weeks. Packers bought a lot of cattle last week. As a result, they're really not doing much yet this week, and probably going to be pretty slow. Everybody's kind of expecting a steady week. So either side of 230 is kind of and probably going to be that same kind of scenario for next week also. Board was down a little bit today. It was either side. It was up for a while, down for a while. So not a big deal. Did close on the lower side of its trading range. Probably the big news today is choice boxes down $2. We just are struggling to get a bottom put in on these choice boxes. Big chunk of that's the fact that there's just been a lot of cattle run through processing plants the last week or two, you know, bigger numbers than we've had for most of the year. So that's kind of what's driving that deal. Another interesting fact is last week we had 104,000 negotiated cattle that were traded or sold, which would have been the largest negotiated trade that we've had in 2 years. So that's kind of an interesting little tidbit there. But, yeah, going into the holidays, they always say a long week buying for a short week, and that's kind of what we've got the last 2 weeks with, obviously, Christmas and New Year's. Those days are going to be off at processing plants, but there'll also be some short days, you know, probably the day after the holiday, and you know, Christmas Eve, probably not a real big day as well. So just a lot of non-action probably going to go on. So not expecting a big move either way. So just kind of watch that, but been a nice couple of weeks going up there. Feeder cattle continue to be higher, and you know, next week there won't be much action with the holidays, and the week after that there won't be hardly any action. You know, feeder cattle this time of year just trend higher if you can get them bought. You know, and then you go into that first week in January, and that's always a high demand week for feeder cattle, which means usually higher priced. So if you can get cattle bought this week, probably your best week for the next 4 weeks, you know, because the week after that, not much move and not much at all the week between Christmas and New Year, and prices work higher the first week in January. So just kind of watch that deal. We got some uptrend and stuff there. Cost of gains, you know, $1, a little above. For heifers, I'm using $1.05, $1.07. Steers, either side of $1, depending on what kind of quality of cattle you got coming in there. So, yeah, that's been inching higher as well. This move up in these fat cattle kind of bailed out some cattle that would have showed some losses. So that's been a positive as well. So kind of trending into some good news going into the new year. Just kind of keep moving these cattle through here. Probably going to have a little mud, get rid of some snow here this next week. So something to watch there as well. Once again, my name is David Rueber, Beef Production Specialist for Innovative Ag. Thank you.
That's it for this week's episode of IAS Market Talk. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an update. And if you know a fellow producer who could benefit from this information, share this episode with them. For more updates and insights, visit innovativeag.com and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We'll catch you next time on IAS Market Talk.
Are you ready for a hands-on role with purpose? Join the facility operations team at Innovative Ag Services, where we value hard work, safety, and community. With locations across Northeast and Central Iowa and Southwest Wisconsin, we offer industry-leading benefits, on-the-job training, and a culture that supports your growth. From competitive pay to a uniform allowance, we invest in our team. Grow with IAS and discover your co-opportunity. Apply today at innovativeag.com.